and welcome to my kitchen. My name's Tracy. I'm from Matters of Taste, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make my ultimate chocolate fudgy brownies. They are absolutely delicious. So the recipe is on our website, so you can go and get the recipe from there, and would love to know if you're watching this live. Okay, let's start off by going over to the stove, and I'm going to show you the first couple of ingredients. So I already have some butter melting in my pan, and this makes a huge batch of brownies, so don't be too distressed by the amount of butter and sugar that I'm using, because these are definitely things to share with your mates. So yeah, it makes absolutely loads of them. So while this butter is just melting, it's just regular lightly salted butter, I'm going to go back to the bench, and I'm going to show you how to line the tin. So I'm just using this square baking tin. I find it really easy, this one, because to line it you just need 2 sheets of baking paper, one to go that way, turn it around, and the other one, I always guess this, to go the other way. And then what I find is that you've got like a double layer that you can actually lift the brownies out of, so it makes it a lot safer doing this. So that is our tin already lined, ready to go, and we'll go back to the butter and add in the sugar. So I'll just turn this up just a little bit. You don't really want to have this bubbling away, because the butter will actually separate and clarify, which we don't really want. So I'm going to add in the sugar. So we're using caster sugar, and this is what makes these brownies so deliciously fudgy. So don't substitute with another type of sugar. This really does, oh, wonder what that is, a rogue bit, oh, so from the sugar bag. It really is important to use this caster sugar at this stage. So I don't really want to heat this up very much, because I'm actually going to, the next step is to add the eggs. So that butter's melted, and I'm going to go back over to the main bench, and I'm just going to just feel and see how warm that is. So this is perfectly safe to add the eggs to it, because if you add the eggs now, I'm going to add 3 eggs. If I added the eggs to that when it was really, really hot and steaming, then what would happen is the eggs may even start to scramble. So you can be really careful not to add the eggs when the liquid is too hot. But even if I hold my hand right near it, it's just warm. So we'll be perfectly all right adding the eggs. So I'm just going to add these. You can whisk them all up in one bowl if you want to, and add them a little bit at a time. But I'm just going to be a bit of a cheat and just add them one at a time, and just stir them in briskly. That's what we've got to do here, is stir them in briskly, go right around the pan, make sure that that egg is thoroughly combined into that mixture. Then we can add egg number 2. So this is a very quick, very quick recipe to make, which is fantastic. It does take about 40 minutes to cook, so you will have to wait for it, and then you do have to wait for the brownies to cool down a little bit. So just telling you so that you're not so excited when they come out of the oven and then suddenly realise that you're going to have to wait 10 minutes to half an hour before you can actually eat them. So that's a little bit of patience there you can practice. And it's all good, because the anticipation of eating these brownies is going to be almost as fun as eating them themselves. That's how I feel anyway. When I decide to make brownies, I really love the knowing that I'm going to be eating them. But I do have to wait until I've made them and cooked them. So here's your egg, butter and sugar mixture. So now we need to add the vanilla extract as well. Actually, I've got vanilla paste here, so you can use vanilla paste, you can use vanilla essence. I'm just going to put a big squirt in like that. 1 to 2 teaspoons will suffice for sure. And if you're like me and love vanilla, then I probably go for closer to 2 teaspoons than 1 teaspoon. Now, the dry ingredients that I've got here, I've got plain flour. So we don't want to use self-raising flour, otherwise it'll become a cake, okay? Because the self-raising flour will lift it up and make it lighter, but we want it lovely and fudgy. And the chocolate that I'm going to put in actually is cocoa. So this is cocoa that has had all the bitterness taken out of it. It's called Dutch cocoa, and it makes the brownies so chocolatey and really, really delicious. So I'm going to add this in, and just be careful because it's really light, the cocoa, and it can go everywhere. So just be very careful with that. Don't plonk it in. Just be gentle. So I'm going to, just using this spoon, stir in the cocoa and the flour together. So you've got to be a bit careful here, scraping down the sides and pulling that wet mixture up from underneath. I make a mess every time I make these, but I think it's a really good idea to just use one pan, because often when I'm baking like this, I'm doing the washing up as well. So I think it's a good idea to learn how to use as few utensils as you possibly can. Now you can see that it's sort of beginning to come together, so you've got to be patient. And the beautiful thing is with this is the smell. So it's sort of 99% mixed in, and I'm going to give it a good old beat like this to make sure that it's all combined really, really well and we don't have any dry bits in the center. So that's your brownie mixture. Not hard, is it? So got our prepared tin, and in goes this most fabulous of mixtures. You can just tell at this stage, can't you, that it's going to be fantastic. So make sure you scrape everything out that you possibly can. Yes, and of course you can have the licks. Isn't that part of the baking fun? I think so anyway. I remember having the licks when my mum used to make cakes at home. It's just the best bit. There we go. So that's all done. And you can see behind me I've got a sink. Well, you might not be able to see it, but I have got a sink full of hot soapy water. And that's number one importance in the kitchen, so you can wash up as you go along. I'm not doing that today because I'm filming for you guys. So I'm not going to turn around and start doing washing up. But if I was not filming, then I would definitely have my hands in the sink every time I make something dirty. And I quickly wash it up and leave it to drain. So that means that by the time you've got this in the oven, you've got all your washing up done as well. So you don't need to worry too much about it in the slightest. So I'm going to pop this in the oven. Had the oven on at 160 degrees, so it's a little bit lower, so it'll take a little bit longer. So a little bit low and slow for these lovely brownies. So in they go, and I'll time 40 minutes. So there you go, that's taken me 8 minutes to make those brownies. So that's not a bad time to do that. So because I'm not going to ask you to wait for 40 minutes for the brownies to come back out. This morning I made a batch of brownies, so I could cut them up with you right now and show you what the brownies look like. So you can get 16 slices out of these, or 16 pieces out of this, but I think you could probably get even more. You're probably getting, what's 16 times 2 is 32 or something like that. You can get a huge amount of brownie out of this. So this is cooled down well. It is better when it's a little bit cold. You definitely don't want to burn yourself on the hot brownie, that's for sure. So try and let it cool down. And when you're taking it out of the oven, 40 to 45 minutes. 40 minutes will give you a really fudgy brownie. 45 minutes will give you a little bit more of a cakey brownie, depending on your oven as well. So you might need to make these a couple of times before you decide whether you want 40 or 45 minutes. So I'm just going to cut this in half. I'm actually going to take this thing out of here because I don't think it's very clever having that underneath. And I'll just show you what those beautiful fudgy brownies look like on the inside. Absolutely delish. So what I normally do, you can cut the edges off if you want to, but I quite like the edge bits, so I actually leave them on. So what I would do is cut the brownies into 4 like this to get equal sizes. So in half, and then each half into half. And then you can turn this around. As you can see, I've got a really nice long knife as well. So there again, in half again. This, and you can, if you're really a perfectionist, have a jug of hot water and keep dipping your knife in the jug of hot water, then you won't get all the bits sticking to the knife. There you go, there's 16 pieces. That's really quite a lot. So do share this with your friends. Share it around. It's absolutely, absolutely delicious. You will love these, and I'm going to leave you because I'm going to take a bite of the brownie because I can't resist it. And just before I do, next week we are going to be cooking either chicken fajitas or my really good chewy muesli slice. So let me know in the comments section what you would like me to cook. We'll do a little bit of a vote during the week and see what people want. But next Wednesday, same time, same place, I'll be here, and we'll do a little bit more cooking. So happy school holidays, enjoy, and remember to share your brownies. Really good.